Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for guitarlessons365.com. Got a really fun song for you today. We're going to learn how to play Big Bang Baby by the Stone Temple Pilots. Before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the little notification bell so you'll know when I release a new lesson. And please check out my Guitar Academy. It's at guitarlessons365.com. It's all my systematic guitar courses covering everything from improvisation to technique to ear training, guitar tone. It's all there. So come join the community over there at guitarlessons365.com. All right, so let's jump into this. We're in standard tuning here. I know live they go half step down a lot, but the original recording's in standard. So we're going to do it in that. And then we just have a few riffs, but they move around pretty quick. So this is a great song if you have trouble moving power chords around the guitar fretboard pretty quickly, because he's definitely moving around quite a bit. All right, so this main riff is also enters the song, and it's also the verse of the song. All right, we have that, and then there's a little tail at the very end of it that leads us, a quick little 3-chord sequence that takes us into the pre-chorus, which I'll show you in a second. So, but first we're going to repeat this riff for a while. So it's just all power chords. Just so the low E string open with the second fret there on the A string. So that's an E power chord. Going to hit that twice. Then you're going to move up and play the power chord off the 3rd fret of the 6th string. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the 3rd fret of the low E string. You can play 3, then move it up to 4th fret, and then the 5th fret. And then when you get to the 5th fret, you're going to hit it twice. So we have this. One more time. All right, and now he actually changes his fingerings around a little bit. For the power chord on the off the A string, he plays with his index finger and his pinky. You can still play it with just ring finger if you're more comfortable with that. I actually prefer using my pinky with power chords. So he uses that fingering when he's on the power chords off the A string. So that's the first one is this D power chord. It is off playing the 5th fret on the A string, 7th fret on the D. So we're going to play that power chord once at the 5th fret, then down to the 4th fret, and then down to the 3rd fret, and you're going to play it twice there. So far we have this. All right, so now from there, after the 3rd fret power chord, you hit that twice, you're going to go down to the 2nd fret there at the A string, then the 1st fret, so we have this. So all the way from this. So we go that 2, 1, and you're going to jump over and grab the 3rd fret power chord, the G power chord that we played earlier, off the low E string. Going to play that twice. Then jump up real quick to the 5th fret, and then over to the 5th fret power chord off the A string. So real slow the whole riff. All right, and so I'll play it up to speed. All right, then it repeats, but the last 3 chords are different when it repeats. So we have this. Now, so the last 3 chords they're played pretty much the same way, just 2 frets higher. So instead of ending it like this, you're gonna, instead of starting at the 3rd fret, start it at the 5th fret. And that's the second time through the verse riff that you're going to do that. And it just kind of rotates between those 2 endings. So we have this. Repeat. So at the very end of the verse now, we had this little bit different riff here. It looks like this. So that goes by pretty quickly, I know. And that leads us to the pre-chorus. So what that is, you're starting that same riff. And what you do is you jump up here to the power chord off the 7th fret of the low E string, then over to the power chord off the 7th fret of the A string, and then we're going to finish it with that power chord there at the 5th fret of the low E. He actually plays it like that too. And that takes us to the pre-chorus. And now the pre-chorus got some very interesting stuff in it as well. It sounds like this. And then we're back into the verse, so it is a pre-chorus, but it doesn't go to the chorus the first time. So what's going on that? We just play a full C major bar chord here at the beginning of the pre-chorus. Remember, this comes out of... So this C major, 3rd fret there on the A, and then you're going to bar across the 5th fret of the D, G, and the B. So really just kind of play those 4 middle strings. Then that goes to an A power chord, or an A major chord. And then we have this really interesting thing. Really, the bass is holding down the harmony, and this is over an E major chord. But all Dean DeLeo is really doing, he's bending the 1st fret of the G string up a half step. And he's not really doing it with any like really specific timing. And why he's doing that, he's also letting the kind of hitting the open B and the open G string with it, and sometimes picking across the B and the E, but it's kind of very random. So it creates a cool effect when the bass player is playing along with it as well. So we have this. Then it goes back to that C major, and this time instead of going to A, it goes to a D sus2 chord. So that D sus2, we're also going to have the A in the bass there. So that's just like a D major chord, but pick up the note that's on the finger that's on the high E, so you can make it an open high E. And instead of just those 4 strings, you get that open A string in there too. And then it ends that with the same bend riff, except with the bends going from at the 1st fret and then bending it up a half step each time. He starts that at the 3rd fret and bends it up a half step each time. You're still incorporating the B and the E string in there though. So all together, C, A, 1st bend riff, C, D sus2, 2nd bend riff. And then we're back to that verse riff again, that once again goes through the same parts, the same little transition, and the same pre-chorus, and that pre-chorus takes us to the chorus. Chorus is a very unique way that he's going to be playing these chords up here. He's going to be playing them way up here in this higher position, and kind of, it sounds interesting because they're not very intricate chord shapes or anything. It's just that when he's incorporating these higher, fingered notes up the neck with the open strings around, it really creates this cool sound. So here's the chorus. So we're going to start with this E major chord. So how he's doing that is the open E string, we have an open low E, 14th fret there on the A string, 14th fret there on the D, 13 on the G string, 12 on the B, and then the high E open. So that's the first chord you're going to be strumming. And then all we're going to do to get to the next chord is we're going to rotate these two fingers. So this second fret, the 12th fret there, sorry, on the G string is going to go over to the 12th fret on, 12th fret on the B is going to go over to the 12th fret on the G. And then that 13th fret that was on the G is going to go down and hold the 13th fret on the B. That is a C major 7th chord in first inversion, and it's a very strange way to play it. So he rotates between that E major and that C major 7 with E in the bass a couple times. So we have this. So we have this. So I'm still, when I'm doing that, I'm still hitting that low E open while you're doing the C chord. So we have this. So go back and forth like 2 times between those 2 chords, and then we go to an A minor chord. So it's just like an A minor that you'll do down here, but he does it up here. So we have the open A string, 14th fret there on the D and the G, and then the 13th fret there on the B, open high E. Then it goes to a D sus2. So that's going to be the open D string, 14th fret there on the G, 15th on the B, open high E string. And then back to the A minor. So all together, E, C major 7, E, C major 7, A minor, D7, that's sus2, and E, sorry, it was a D sus2, not D7. So you should repeat that. And at the end of the chorus, you're going to play this chord and then incorporate a kind of a slide up and down. So you can just kind of slide up and down the low E string while doing some tremolo picking. So it goes back into that verse riff again, and this is where they end the song. At the very end, there's a little slight variation. And they stop in the middle of the riff. So that's just, instead of going that second time through the riff, instead of jumping up here, it's the second half of the verse riff. They repeat it a couple of times, but with the second half of the last time that they play it, instead of going, they just do this. Stop on that C power chord. So that's when you hit that power chord twice, that's when you just cut out. And so it stops right in the middle of the riff. And that is about it. So it's pretty straightforward song, but it's got some interesting chord work in it and some interesting little riffs with those bends. So it's pretty interesting stuff. So he always comes up with pretty clever guitar riffs. It's always fun to play. All right, I hope to see you guys again soon for guitarlessons365.com. Bye-bye.